Good morning. You know, in the New York Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, the new appointment season is beginning very soon, and change is coming for so many of us. We're in the midst of an immense transition, and it can be both exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. But while change does force us to enter into the unknown, change is not something we have to fear. In fact, there are 3 things we need to remember as we begin these changes. First, change is necessary. It's a sign of growth. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 reminds us that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Without the change of seasons, the fields and the forests around us wouldn't flourish. Change brings life and growth, and that just wouldn't happen if things remain stagnant. I mean, think about waterways, lakes, and ponds. The healthiest, the most beautiful ones where wildlife abounds are the ones in motion, where the water is flowing, moving, and changing. The ones where wildlife fails to flourish, where the water is brackish, smelly, unable to sustain life, well, those are the ones where it is stagnant, unchanging. And the same is true with human beings. Without change, we too would be stagnant, not bearing new life. Change, both good and bad, brings opportunity. An opportunity for new experiences that lead to our growth. I mean, take the changes our churches and pastors are about to undergo. While we're saddened about our time together coming to an end, and while we are still unsure of what the future is going to bring, we have a wonderful opportunity to build new, glorious relationships, to learn new things, to advance even farther on our journey of faith. Isaiah chapter 43 verses 18 and 19 reminds us that we should not dwell in the past. Forget the former things, the prophet writes. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do not perceive it. I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. That's what's happening now. God is creating. In fact, God is always creating and recreating every single day. New life, new growth, all come from change. With each new experience, we can learn from the past and grow into our full potential in the future. But the greatest thing we need to remember is that change can bring us closer to Jesus. When we enter into these times of uncertainty, we're tempted to give in to our fears, our anxieties. But let's face it, that's far from helpful or healthy, and it usually causes more problems. Instead, this is the ideal time to turn to Christ, to lean on Him more than ever. It's not a coincidence that our natural reaction to change is to look for help and reassurance. We simply need to remember where that help truly comes from. Psalm 121 reminds us, I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And as Paul reminds us in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9, even though we are hard-pressed, we're not alone. God is with us. Through the Holy Spirit, God is within us, working to see us through even the most difficult seasons of change. And no matter what life throws our way, we're not alone. With Jesus, we're not only able to survive the changes, both good and bad, but we are able to thrive in spite of them. So remember, as Christians, we don't have to fear change. The Bible gives us so many reassurances of that truth. And spending time with God allows us to take God's promises and apply them to our everyday life. So let's use this time of uncertainty to put our trust in the Lord and remember that God will not abandon us, but will see us through. And every change that comes in our lives will help us to thrive in our faith. On the other side of change, we find new experiences that lead to the growth of new life, endurance, and trust. So let's embrace change. Focus our eyes on this new season of life that's right around the corner. And for today's hymn, let's sing of the beauty and mystery of change by joining together in singing hymn number 707 in the United Methodist Hymnal, the Hymn of Promise.